Here's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the President's annual acknowledgement of a constitutional requirement, Article 2, Section 3. The President shall from time to time give the Congress information of the State of the Union. It was pointed out to us this morning that most Americans today can feel exactly what the State of the Union is like. And even though the President's speechwriters have been slaving for a month, not many historians can remember very many memorable lines from State of the Union speeches past. Still, the Bush administration says tonight is the big one. It is, after all, intended to launch the President's re-election campaign. At the White House, ABC's Britt Hugh.
In a cabinet meeting this morning, the President was doing nothing to dampen expectations for his speech tonight.
It's going to be a good State of the Union address tonight. A bell ringer.
I think it's going to be all right.
Big surprises.
Yes. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody.
In fact, despite the intense buildup the President has given the speech on the campaign trail and elsewhere, the address represents a decision basically to do nothing major on the economy. Mr. Bush has received almost unanimous advice from economists that the economy is likely to recover on its own, and if it doesn't, no legislation will be enough to fix it. What's more, he's been advised an ambitious recovery program requiring the scrapping of last year's budget deal with Congress would risk driving up interest rates and aborting the best chance the economy has. So tonight's speech in the House chamber will not propose abandoning the spending restrictions agreed to with Congress last year to reduce the deficit. It will propose some tax cuts to be financed by cuts in defense spending. There will be proposed increases in some domestic programs, but they will be paid for largely by proposed cuts in other domestic programs. The President will demand that Congress act on his proposals by mid-March, a deadline that Congress is unlikely to either like or meet. But as one official here put it, this is a program that could pass. But if it doesn't, it's also a program we can run on. Britt Hume, ABC News, the White House.
So standing by with some comments as to how the Democrats might respond tonight, ABC's Cokie Roberts, who's up on Capitol Hill. What have they been saying to you, Cokie? Are they and the President going to reach another impasse here?
It looks like it. Some are coming back and saying all we're hearing from home is people saying do something, just stop fighting and do something. But others say no, the thing for us to do is to show that George Bush is the person holding up domestic programs. So what we're going to do is put a health care plan on the President's desk and let him veto it, a parental leave plan on the President's desk and let him veto it, and do that with one program after another. They say they've been doing some polling that shows that Democrats should show up in bright colors, starkly different from the Republicans, not in shades of pastels.
Now, tomorrow comes the budget. Are they going to make any progress on getting together there?
Well, I think the place where you will see tremendous progress, surprise, surprise, in an election year is in cutting taxes. That's very popular, and that's likely to happen, and likely to happen relatively soon. But the rest of it will definitely be loggerheads for the rest of the year.
So in this season of political one-liners, what's the Democrats' campaign line?
Their campaign line is, we're the party that's most for people like you. Stick with us, throw out the guy in the White House. The problem is that people might prefer the other line of throw them all out and let's get a new team that can do something.
Okay, Cokie Roberts on Capitol Hill. Thank you very much. We'll have more on the State of the Union speech, what Mr. Bush has to say about health care, the economy, aid to children, a little later in the broadcast. And then tonight at 9 Eastern Time, we will broadcast Mr. Bush's speech and the Democratic response live. Now we go on to the Clinton campaign. At several stops today talking about Gennifer Flowers, Governor Clinton denounced what he called trash for cash. And there appear to be quite a few people who agree. We remind you that until people actually vote, the polls are only an imprecise measurement of how people are feeling at any moment. We asked people all across the country last evening if they would vote for a candidate who had an extramarital affair. 26% said no. But our polling unit points out that at least half of those people who said no are Republicans and unlikely to vote for Governor Clinton anyway, at least in the primaries. ABC's Jim Wooten is in New Hampshire.
It wasn't just another day for the Clinton campaign in New Hampshire, not with this face staring out from the newsstands on the streets, even here in his own state headquarters.
Clinton for president, John here.
Still, when Clinton volunteers went door to door for the governor today, only a few voters showed any concern for the Gennifer Flowers issue.
From the Clinton for President campaign.
Clinton.
You plan on voting in February 18th?
I heard so much about Clinton lately, I don't know.
Clinton's state director, Mitchell Schwartz, blames that on the media. He's not happy with reporters.
What should the press do? Well, responsible members of the press should let the story die. Jennifer Flyers is a liar. She's bought and paid for.
But Mr. Schwartz is happy with the latest New Hampshire poll from Manchester television station WMUR. It shows Clinton still leading his closest rival, Paul Tsongas, by 5 percentage points, with the rest of the Democrats far behind. And the ABC News poll shows that most Americans believe the media should drop the issue of adultery, which was exactly the point made by almost everybody in the luncheon crowd at the Back Room, a popular Manchester restaurant. They were much more concerned with Clinton's credibility than his personal life.
Doesn't matter to me a bit. It does matter if you would ask the question and he denied it and he really did do it. I mean, I think honesty is a big factor.
Yes, I wouldn't like to know that he was outright lying about something.
And that is the crux of Clinton's crisis. Most people here really don't seem to care much about his personal life, but they do care about his truthfulness. And on that single issue, not adultery, his campaign now seems to hang. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Later in the broadcast this evening, why it is so lonely in Iowa this year. Some changes in the Middle East again. Israel and Arabs from the Gulf states meet in Moscow.